We've all had that conversation before, or we've heard that conversation. We're in the line at the grocery store or somewhere, and we hear two people talking. What are you giving up for Lent? Well, I'm giving up chocolate, right? I'm giving up TV, or I'm giving up this and that. But we know, and you know, because you're here tonight, that that's not what Lent is about. I was thinking about it today. What is this about, right? What is Ash Wednesday really about? Is it about giving up or adding to? What is it about? Because I've read several spiritual writers, and they seem to say different things, but good stuff, right? But as God always works through people, I think that's where I got the insight today. I'm standing in the chapel of the hospital, and folks come in. I spent the whole day in the chapel distributing ashes, and it's interesting when someone comes, and we actually use Q-tips, right? Q-tips. It was really, really good. And when I say, Christy, you come from dust and you shall return to dust, there's this kind of look, like sort of a sadness almost, right? But then I always followed up with, but remember this, you're a beloved child of God. And you're loved every moment of your life, every breath you take, every second, you are loved by God. And you can see the brow kind of loosen up, and sort of you can just see the change in their eyes. It's the blessing, right? Everything we do, church, is about the blessing. The blessing. The blessing that we are God's beloved. Lent is that journey of deepening our understanding and our trust in that blessing of being a child of God, of cultivating that space within us where our spirit rests in God, where we know. That place within us where we know that we belong to God. And out of that experience, to bless the world. I was reading Isaiah today. That's one of the texts for Lent, or for Ash Wednesday. What sort of fast is God seeking? That we loosen the bonds of injustice, making the world a just place for all. That too is a part of Lent, and that is the blessing. I thought about Mike on the way here. In Rockaway Beach, I met someone named Mike. I may have told you the story, but Solomon was just born, and our church had opened up, at the time, Rockaway Beach had opened up the church to a group called Out Rockaway. And it was an LBTQ plus, And if you knew anything about Rockaway, even though it was New York, it was kind of a red place, right? It was kind of it was a lot of conservatives in Rockaway, right? And so Out Rockaway was a meaningful group for folks to be themselves. And we were grateful as a church, like we're doing with the Richmond Police Department, just being there for the community. Well, I met Mike. He was a part of the group, and they somehow knew that we had just had Solomon, and he walked over, and he said, "I got a gift for you." And he gave me the gift, and I opened it up, and it was a box of wipes. And I said, "You've had children before, because you know exactly what we need." And Mike said, "I'm going to come to your church." Now, I hear that all the time, right? I'm going to come to your church. He came. He came to church. Mike was previously married to a woman, realized he was gay. They ended the marriage, and now he was with someone else, and he was living his life, right? Living his life, being himself. But he always felt ostracized by the Catholic Church. And so he found a UCC church. And slowly but surely, Mike got more and more and more and more involved in the church. He felt affirmed. He knew he was a child of God. like he would here. And so I invited him one Ash Wednesday to go with me out into the community, and we distributed ashes. And so we went to one of the train stations in Rockaway Beach, and he brought a huge American flag, because you're supposed to do that when you're setting up a religious thing. And he was a former police officer, so he was covering all the bases, right? But here we were. I had my rainbow stole, and here was Mike, who's someone who has felt ostracized by the church his whole life, right? Never felt like he belonged. But he was here. We were in this space together, and we were blessing people as they walked by, as they got off the train. Mike was giving the ashes. He was giving the blessing. He was giving the blessing. You're a child of God, loved unconditionally. And then we went throughout the community at different places, the fire station, rescue squad, different places. And I just thought it was so cool that here was someone who had felt rejected by the church, didn't feel blessed by the church. Now he was the one giving the blessing on Ash Wednesday. To me, that's what Ash Wednesday is all about. It's not about remorse and this and that. It's about the blessing, once again, that we are beloved children of God. Continue to deepen that relationship, that connection, and offer that blessing to the world. To me, that's what it's all about. Amen.